Cody Patterson here. We had some audio issues with week 2's podcast. It seems that we got some wires crossed, just like Ben Blaque did, and just had some issues. Jay's mic ended up being a little overmodulated. My mic ended up being a little soft. There was even a point in the middle of the podcast where we had some interruptions. So there may be a time where we talked about something more than once. Did the best we could to get it edited for your all's ears, but we do apologize. We'll get those kinks worked out and get it a little bit better next time. Please don't give us 4 X's. We'd like to stay in this competition a little while longer. Hopefully you'll vote us through as super fans. We'd really appreciate it. Hey everyone, and welcome to week 2 of AGT The Champion Season 2. Cody Patterson here along with
Jay Bach, ready to talk about some interesting acts, talk about some magicians, some controversy. It's going to be a fun week.
Yeah, it's going to be a great week. We have magicians, we have comedians, we have some great stuff this week.
Yeah, I didn't know how things were going to shake out in the end, I guess it's going to be interesting to see how things shake out for the season on the whole with maybe some golden buzzer controversy here. Yeah,
so we'll get into that in just a moment, but I just want to do some real quick business before we get started. We have our contact information. Jay and I are on Twitter, AGT Time on Twitter. I'm on there, Cody L. Patterson. Jay's on there. At One Man Bander. We're on the Facebook, AGTcast on Facebook, email agtcast@gmail.com. We'd also appreciate it if you went out and left some reviews for us on iTunes. If you leave a comment for us out there on, Apple Podcasts now, we may read that on the air and give you the golden buzzer. So hit us up. We'd really appreciate it.
I love it. Yes. We want to continue to get comments, continue to get feedback. Let us know what you like. Let us know what you don't like. Leave a 5-star review and then tell us what you don't like. But, whatever we can do to sort of grow our audience and to grow our community, it would be a lot of fun for this to sort of take off and for us to work together on making this more than just Jay and Cody. So with that, Cody, I've been chomping at the bit to talk about this first act.
Yeah, I know. You're real excited about this one. So why don't you hit it off with Marcelito Pomoy?
Marcelito Pomoy. He is the champion of Philippines Got Talent 2011. Comes out on stage. It's him and his wife, Joanne, and they say that Joanne is just there for support, and then she leaves the stage, and it's Marcelito. He, I guess I should say first in his video package, it was an interesting story. When he was on Philippines Got Talent, he, I guess, had grown up as an orphan and wanted to find his family. So the exposure of Philippines Got Talent, he was able to find his family, and they were actually present for his finale performance. So really, really interesting story. We talked about how Trey got his eyesight, or the doctor was able to keep that from progressing. Like, this is another, like, the power of television, right? The power of social media, the power of getting your name out there, right? This is worth so much more than the $1 million. So, whatever the Philippines Got Talent equivalent is. So, but yeah, with that, so he jumps in to singing "Let This Be Our Prayer." It's a Celine Dion song, and he's singing in this fantastic feminine voice. And I was thinking to myself, like, what a interesting gimmick. I was maybe a little bit surprised that a male singing like a woman was going to be the gimmick, the hook that was the thing that propelled him to be the champion. But he was on point. His notes were on. He was very talented, very cool. But then he starts singing the Josh Groban parts of the "Let This Be Our Prayer," and my mind is blown. Like, he was, again, just on point. The diction, the quality of the notes, the quality of the singing was fantastic. And he's flipping between both parts of the duet of Celine Dion and Josh Groban. I loved it. I thought he had amazing range. I thought it was just top-notch. The Filipino male version of the Adeline Bates that I loved from season 14.
That's right.
Thoughts on that? What'd you think?
Oh, I loved it as well. And he didn't sound like he was pushing it at all or forcing it at all. It seemed very natural for him to sing in the falsetto range and then down in, I guess it would be a tenor range. So I'm guessing he's singing in four different octaves.
Quite the range.
And we haven't heard anything like this except for Adeline Bates.
Right.
Now he didn't do the gimmick where half of his body, is dressed as a man, the other half's dressed as a woman.
No, he didn't do the costume.
He didn't put the mustache and beard on. He didn't do any of that. So it really caught me off guard because I was pleasantly surprised to hear him sing in that high range, but then when he sang the other part down low, made it even better.
Yes, he sang both parts. He sang both parts so well. He could have done one or the other and been perfectly wonderful.
Absolutely.
But his ability to do both was just stunning, and I was smiling all the way throughout it, and I was looking forward to tonight so that we were going to be able to finally just tell the world how wonderful he is. So
yeah, some of these acts from the other Got Talent franchises, I sometimes wonder how they won because it didn't feel like it was a top-notch, top-tier act. I felt like this was a top-tier act.
Absolutely. He belongs on this stage. He should definitely be going through the next round. And, with that, we can say, the audience and Simon was looking over at Howie saying, hey, it's your golden buzzer. You can do the golden buzzer. And Howie decided to sit on it. He said, you're the first act of the night. I can't do it, which I think is bubkiss. They really ought to let him pick the golden buzzer and then do the America votes shenanigans and then put their last one through. Why not see all 10 acts and then pick your golden buzzer? But whatever. It's wonderful. It's fantastic. I thought that he was just absolute A+ talent.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think we've ever seen anyone get a golden buzzer this early in a show. Obviously, during the auditions, they always put the golden buzzers at the end of the episode, so we don't know at what point in the day they were actually given the golden buzzer. And then when they get to judge cuts, I've done the tracking. It's usually right in the middle of the show that they give it the golden buzzer, somewhere in the was it, how many are there? It's like 7, 8, 9, somewhere in that range.
Yep.
They'll give the golden buzzer. So this one to be, it's always terrible to be first, and it's always terrible to be last because they're not going to give the golden buzzer to the first act of the night. They want to see what the rest of they want to get in. They want to get deep. They want to see what the other talent is like, what the competition is like, and then maybe hand one out. And then they're not going to give one at the end because it's already been handed out. They're not going to sit on it until the very, very last performance because then pretty much gives it away who they're going to give it to. So I agree with you that it's kind of bumkiss that they get the shaft for going first. The judges should hear all the acts. It may lose some of the excitement to wait because the audience and the judges want to give it to them right after they perform. I think it'd be more fair to wait until the end, until you've heard all the acts and then do it. But we talked last week the difference between entertainment and a competition.
Yep.
It's more entertaining to do it, but it'd be more fair to the competition to do it at the end.
Well, yeah, and AGT, they're not all about fairness. As
And we see that in this episode.
okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
I loved it. I'm ready to talk about act number 2.
You want judge comments real quick, or you want to pass on that?
Sure. Okay. What do you got?
So Howie said that was unique. You are a beautiful young singer with a woman trapped inside you. Alicia, right. I want to see something different and unique. It was brilliant. Heidi said that was the craziest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. The crowd, like you mentioned, the crowd and Simon both were calling for him to do the golden buzzer, and Simon just said that was a 10.
It was a 10.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Act number 2, we got Oz Perlman. He was 3rd place on season 10 America's Got Talent in 2015. Do you want to tell us what Oz did, or should I try to explain it?
Go ahead. I mean, I can just mention real quickly that he's a mentalist. He's one of the best mentalists I've seen. And go ahead and kind of describe what he did here.
Okay, so he tells everyone in the audience to hold up a dollar bill, tells Terry Crews to go out and grab one. He hands this dollar bill to Simon. It's folded up and put in an envelope, and Simon holds this envelope, so there's no shenanigans going on. All right. He then asks everyone for different dates and words and stuff, and he ends up adding all these numbers together to get the number 742419141. That's 74,241,941, which, when written in the script that he used, you can flip it upside down and it spells the word moment. And he had started his whole act saying, you have to seize every moment. And he did a good job of sort of having that reveal at the end. From the script that I saw at the very beginning, I was like, that's going to be something when it's upside down. It didn't get enough of a chance to view it to figure out what it was going to be. But yeah, it was cool. I don't know how he does this. Without giving too much away, he has to somehow have the bill planted, or he has to, switch the bills to the one that he has this predetermined number. But how he makes this predetermined number come from all the random sounding dates and digits that he collected from the judges, I don't know. He's got a great stage presence. I really like mentalists. He may be the very best mentalist. Just fantastic from beginning to end. He doesn't overdo the woo woo, I'm the sentimentalists kind of stuff. He's just really, really solid. I loved the act. What do you think?
Oh, he's definitely better than the sentimentalists. I mean, his stage presence is fantastic. I was trying, Colin Cloud. He's up there. The Clairvoyants, I think, they're one of my favorites, if not, the top of my list when they come to these mentalists. So he kind of, I don't remember seeing him when he was on initially. That may have been during my dark period where I wasn't really paying attention and watching a whole lot. But I was fascinated with this guy. I'd love to see like a sentimentalist, not a whole episode, but a segment with just all the great sentimentalists of AGT history.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So obviously the sentimentalists would not be on there because they're not very good. But the rest of them, it'd be hard for me to rate some of these other mentalist groups out there. It blew me away. When he had the word moment up there, I was trying to figure out what it was, because I knew it was like, okay, he's going to turn that over. It's going to be something. So I was already seeing ahead to the rest of the show. And somehow I got lost in the middle where he was trying to get them, like Heidi and Alicia,
collect all the numbers. And the
I got
words,
lost in there. So he kind of, maybe part of his trick is to kind of keep you confused. And I think that's fine. But because he comes out, he came out in the end. It all came full circle and wrapped up.
He got
He
there.
got there,
Yep.
yes. He didn't confuse me in the sense that I didn't know what was going on, but there was just so much going on that you kind of lose track of, and that may be part of the trick, which is okay.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? I thought he was good. The only other mentalist I feel like is really at that same level was a guy named Eric Diddleman. Do you remember him at all?
I do not, and I was looking. There's an actual article called "3 of the Best Mentalist Acts that are AGT approved." It had Colin Cloud, a guy named Liaz Shim, Oz Perlman, and Eric Diddleman.
Yeah, yeah. No, Eric Diddleman was fantastic as well. Really, I'd have to compare them side by side to really give a honest comparison. But I remember seeing Diddleman and thinking like, oh man, I don't know how he does this stuff. And that's what I like to feel when I walk away from a magic act. And I feel like I know enough about mentalists' magic acts that I can usually kind of figure it out. But I really love it when I can't. And Oz, you did great. I love it.
Yeah, the best thing about their act is their stage presence, keeping the audience engaged. When you're all over the board like the Sentimental Star, and you go on for 9 minutes without a point, then it's really hard to stay engaged. You get bored, and you start seeing through. They start becoming transparent. Where you can kind of see through all the holes in their show. But guys like him, the guys like the clairvoyants, like Colin Cloud, they keep you engaged. They might confuse you a little bit, but the confusion is part of it because they eventually get to where they're going.
Yep. So 2 acts in, I'm thinking I've just seen 2 acts that are going to be going through the finals.
Absolutely. I mean, it's like this is an A+ night already.
Fantastic. Yeah. Absolutely.
Some judge comments. Alicia, stage presentation and comments is amazing. That's what we talked about. Simon, there are no words. It was incredible. And so, I mean, like you say, we're off to a fantastic start.
Yep. Okay, third act of the night. We've got our introduction to a group called Boogie Storm. 2016 Britain's Got Talent, third-placed finishers. And apparently these guys, they don't talk, so it's sort of a silly intro video of them maybe being invited on to AGT Champions.
Yes.
And them accepting the invitation. So they come out. It is a dance troupe that is dressed like stormtroopers.
Yes.
Simon loves this act.
Simon said this is his favorite act of all time.
Simon said this is his favorite act of all time. I'm beginning to question his credentials as a judge. So, Alicia says that they'll be great, and it's what I said. It's stormtroopers that flip and dance, and they do the splits and they break dance, and that's their gimmick, and that propelled them all the way to third place of Britain's Got Talent 2016.
This is the only thing that stormtroopers can hit the target on.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
See, stormtroopers, they're too busy practicing their break dancing and their flips and not enough time at the shooting range.
Yeah, notoriously bad shots. Yeah, boy. So, as an act, without questioning Simon, what did you think of the act?
Okay, so they played about 15 seconds of about 10 songs.
Yes.
That was the first thing that bothered me. The second thing that bothered me was the production value, where they did massive wide shots, cut to the audience, cut to the judges, close-up shot. I mean, the camera angles were all over the place. I couldn't focus on what they were doing.
Agreed.
If they weren't stormtroopers, I would have immediately been out because I could not focus on what was going on. It was so distracting. It was so annoying. It was hard to really critique the dancing because we didn't see a whole lot of the dancing. And they didn't stick to a song, so there was no There was no one type of dancing they were doing. It was all over the place.
Yeah, there's something to be said for, like, we're going to take our greatest hits, we're going to mash them together here, right? We do this part of Cotton Eye Joe, we do this part of that song, we do this part of this other song, and, it's sort of the feel-good hooks of all these things that people recognize, and I understand that as a strategy. That's fine. I didn't think that from what I saw, that their dancing was anything that I'd never seen before. It's just dancing with a gimmick, right? We've seen other dancers come out with a gimmick, with its some kind of costuming or some kind of theme that they run along with. And dance troupes don't win.
No.
Because they're dance troupes. And, if you take the production out of it, you take all the angles and all the shots and all the thing, I feel like they would have felt pretty small on the stage. It was, how many of them? 8, 10 of them, maybe?
If that. I mean, I think I only saw maybe 7. Yeah, 7 or 8. It was a small group.
Yeah. So, that I didn't think they were great. I didn't think that they were top of the pile quality.
No.
And I did find myself distracted by their cod pieces. Did you notice this at all?
I think I did. Yeah.
Yeah. So the white pieces over their crotch, like they were only attached at the top, so they were always flopping around. And like, I haven't honestly watched a lot of Star Wars, but I'm really confident that the cod pieces didn't just flop around on the actual costumes for the movies.
Yeah, I'm not sure I was really paying attention that closely.
Well,
to in the movies, I don't think I was paying that.
Yeah, maybe
close
it's just
attention
because
to the
they stay upright. Yeah. I don't know, but it constantly bothered me, and I kept looking at it, like, is that guy's flopping around too? Yeah, it is.
I think what stuck out for me during that was, maybe they were overly sized as well. Well, maybe in that camera angle. I mean, there were some camera angles coming up, from the bottom. There's some really up close camera shots. So, it's maybe in the angles that were kind of doing it. But there was, it was not very good. I'm not sure why this is Simon says this is his favorite of all time. I'm not sure if it's because they're stormtroopers. I'm not sure what it is. Of all the dog acts, I don't know. I mean, you know how much he loves dog acts.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? Maybe that's... So, I'm trying to put this together. Like, the costumes, like, if they're not fantastic costumes, like A-plus costumes, it cheapens the whole act. And seeing those flop around like that just kind of cheapened the whole thing for me. Like, I feel like that's my problem. Yeah. So, I don't know. I've said my piece. We can talk about what the judges did now.
Well, I want to give you, before we do that, I'm going to give you some numbers real quick. So, guess what I did this season? Guess what I'm bringing back?
Are you timing the acts?
The acts, yes.
Oh, good. Okay.
So just real quick. So our first 2 acts, the performances, Marcelito was the performance itself. They're actually performing. Was 2 minutes, 21 seconds. Oz Perlman was 4.5 minutes. Okay?
Wow.
Boogie Storm, less than a minute and a half. I was
going to say, they can't be 90 seconds. And to be fair, of those 90 seconds, we actually watched them for 45 of them.
Yes. Now, if you look at like the reactions, like the judge reactions, a little less than 2 minutes for Marcelito, less than a minute for Oz Perlman, almost 3.5 minutes for Boogie Storm.
Well, they had some stuff to figure out with Boogie Storm.
Yeah, so I think that's what we're kind of going to get into next is what happened after they finished performing.
All right. Well, I did take Heidi's comment down here. She said, it's a real fun gimmick, but how long can it last? Which is how I feel minus the real fun. I wouldn't say it's a real fun gimmick. It's a fun gimmick, but how long can it last? All right.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, Simon thinks Howie should golden buzzer it. Howie's like, no, I'm not going to golden buzzer this. So Simon takes it into his own hands. He reaches across the desk and hits the golden buzzer. What?
Yeah.
Do rules mean nothing anymore?
Right. I mean,
I'm knocking my microphone all over the place here. I'm so mad.
So we know this is Simon's show. It's his show. He owns it.
Fine, do what you want.
He's paying all the bills. But now, how does this play into the rest of the season?
Does Howie get another one? What happens now? Does Howie not get one at all?
I don't know. Okay. So what I hope happens is when it's Simon's week to run the golden buzzer, that they're going to say, okay, Howie, you get to run the golden buzzer tonight, and that's it. That would be the cleanest way to clear it up, right? They could also say, oh, it's Simon's night tonight, but Howie, if you reach across the table, we're not going to stop you. Or they could do something where, you know what, the golden buzzer, it doesn't matter whose it is. It's just a free-for-all. Everybody gets the golden buzzer. The first one to hit the golden buzzer gets the golden buzzer of the night. Rules be damned.
Yeah.
Here we go.
That was the biggest controversy of the entire night. Because it then lingered throughout the rest of the night.
Right. The biggest controversy of the season, of the 14 seasons. Like, this is ridiculous. Yes. Get it together, Simon. Okay.
So I wasn't impressed with it. To kind of recap, I wasn't impressed with it because of all the camera shots. Dancing wasn't that good. Simon said, "I believe the dark side is the good side."
Just trying to justify reaching across the table, stealing the golden buzzer.
Yes, I don't know why this is his favorite act. We know how much he loves dog acts. He's always, he's frequently bashing dancing acts. It's got to be something with Star Wars.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't like it. I'm ready to move on.
Okay, and also, why does Disney not have a problem with this?
Good question. Because the costumes weren't stormtroopery enough.
You don't think so?
They don't call themselves stormtroopers. No, they were crappy costumes with cod pieces flopping around.
I thought they looked exactly like stormtroopers, but
they call them Boogie Storm, not stormtroopers.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't know. They, whatever. No, it's a good question. Why doesn't Disney have a problem with it? How do they get by? I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know how they could possibly, but here we go.
Okay. Okay, so number 4, Ben Blaque.
Number 4, Ben Blaque. I feel like he had a pretty long intro video too, but so he was a contestant on Britain's Got Talent in 2016. What'd they say? Like a semifinalist? I didn't know that we got a place for him. I think
so. His act failed in the semifinals.
Okay, so Alicia, our judge, helped him out in the semis, and we see video of him getting shot in the belly. So I guess we should set up his act. He is a crossbow archery daredevil, right?
Yeah.
So he sets up these archery things.
Dangerous Games or whatever their name is.
Yeah. So this particular act, he had all these crossbows set up on a contraption that, as Alicia was pulling levers, arrows were shooting towards him. One of them actually shot at him, and from the video, it appears as if it bounced off his belly. So I don't know. I couldn't really tell what was happening.
I think
he was not dead.
I think the way he explained it was that she pulled a lever and 2 arrows shot at the same time.
Okay, yeah. Wires got crossed is what I remember. So he's not dead. He's
not dead
fine.
Yet.
The arrow, I don't think, even pierced skin. So he probably does have a protection on under his clothing or something. But would you believe that he has not performed that trick since the error on Britain's Got Talent?
That's amazing.
And can you believe that tonight he's going to do that same trick? And in fact, Alicia, will you please join me on stage? And to which Howie says, I wouldn't do it. But no, Alicia goes up on stage. He straps himself to the wall with Terry's help, and Alicia selects one of the 5 levers that's going to shoot one of these crossbow darts at him, and it doesn't shoot, and it doesn't shoot. And he says, I forgot to take the safety off.
Okay. At this point, I actually thought this was part of the act. This was really, I thought that he's one of these guys that I forgot to take the safeties off, and like then something else is going to happen that makes it even more dangerous. So
we're building suspense.
Yeah, that's actually what I thought was happening at this point.
Okay, and you know what? He may have. That's possible. Okay, restrap him to the wall. We're all set to go. Alicia selects arrow number 3, and she shoots the arrow, and it hits near his right knee.
Well, she's pulling it and pulling it and pulling it, and he keeps saying, "Pull it again." So she actually pulled it several times before it triggered.
And really, you ought to bring her in on this before the act and say, like, hey, here's how it works. This is what it feels like to pull the levers. Make sure that you pull them this hard. Make sure that you yada yada yada, right?
Yeah.
Like, make sure that you don't jostle the whole machine, whatever. Okay, so it took her a couple tries or a little bit of effort to get the arrow to shoot. And then she selects number 1, and the arrow hits on the top left. And then she selects number 2, and it's jammed, and she's yanking on it and yanking on it.
We're getting buzzes at this during all this.
We got buzzers going off, and she can't even give her buzzer, and they're trying to da-da-da-da-da. They finally give him 4 buzzers, and we stop, and we say, listen, buddy.
Thanks for everything.
Oil your machine up. Let's put some grease on this and maybe not try this again.
So how does something like this fail? I mean, obviously he's tested it over and over. He's had people pull these levers over and over and over again.
He should have. Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't look like it's that complicated of a machine. They have levers. The wires go into this little box. And then it goes to
the box.
Then it goes to another. So the lever you pull doesn't necessarily equate to the same place on a crossbow. It could be number 1 could be the right side, or number 3 could be the top one. So
I think that's absolutely how it's set up, right? Like it gives the illusion of more danger than it is, and the first one is always going to shoot to his bottom right, no matter which lever you pull. The second one's probably always going to shoot to the top left, no matter which lever you pull, right? And the 5th one, I'm assuming he tells Terry Crews to pull him out, and he pulls the 5th lever, and it shoots right at his belly button. That's what I'm guessing is supposed to happen. I don't know. Maybe something went sideways when it was shipped over from England or something like that. I don't know, but I tell you what, I found myself a little bit nervous. Like my adrenaline was up, my heart rate was up.
Yes.
It was kind of scary.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually in suspense. I was expecting that this was okay. This is actually part of the act. The safeties are on, and it doesn't know which one to pull. And I was actually thinking, okay, is this part of the trick? But the judges didn't want any part of it.
Yeah, I think by the time she was having trouble pulling the 3rd lever for the 2nd time, like they're like, okay, we don't know that things are going right, and we don't want to find out if things go wrong. Yeah. So let's abort.
So let me ask you this: which do you think went worse, this or Ryan Stock and Amber Lynn?
When Ryan got shot in the neck,
yes,
with the flaming arrow.
Yes.
Well, Ryan actually got shot, whereas Ben Blaque only made me afraid he was going to get shot. So I'm going to go with the guy who actually got shot with the flaming arrow. Okay. Although the time that Ben's act actually did shoot him, is questionably just as bad. I don't know.
And we didn't see the whole thing, so we don't know, what happened, what the fallout from that was. So.
So all that, it maybe not the most off the rails we've seen a danger act go, somehow. But 4 buzzers, machine jammed. Let's thank you for coming. I'm sorry things didn't work out.
Is this our first act we've gotten 4 buzzers on Champions as a whole?
I think
so too. Yeah. Things don't look good for Ben Blaque.
No. He got his name out there, and any publicity is good publicity, right?
I guess so. Yeah.
You can when you go around on the state fair circuit and you can say like, I was on America's Got Talent. This is the performance. Right, this is the performance where I got 4 buzzers because my life was in danger. And you know what I'm going to do for you guys today? An act I haven't done since I performed it on stage for America's Got Talent, the champions. Right, he's going to build it up every time.
His act was in so much danger they gave him 4 buzzes because they feared for his life.
Right, and now I'm going to do the act for you, my friends.
Okay.
That's he'll be fine.
Okay.
Right.
I think he needs to practice this more, and he probably needs to actually do more of this in a real performance. And
get out the WD-40,
That's right.
man.
Work out the kinks.
Yep.
Untangle the wires. So.
Alrighty. Okay. Were there any other comments to discuss on Ben Blaque?
No, I think we kind of covered it all.
All right. Next act of the night is a group of singers called Collabro. I suspect this is a portmanteau of the words collaborate and brothers. What do you think?
I didn't think. I mean, collaborate. I didn't get the second part. Good job on you. But it also sounds like some sort of robot.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't think that their act alluded to robotics at all.
No, it doesn't.
All right.
No, I like yours better. The way you described it much better than what I had.
The Collaborate brothers, winners of Britain's Got Talent 2014.
Yeah, we're going way back in the time machine here. We're
way back 6 years ago, 5 years ago at the time of recording.
At this point, I think it was at this point, might be a little bit later, I realized we're getting a lot from Britain's Got Talent this week.
A little bit, yep. But Britain's Got Talent, like they're a pretty big deal in the Got Talent franchises.
If America's Got Talent is number 1, they're a close second. Yeah.
Right. They are America's Got Talent's the oldest, but I think the first season of BGT was the next year.
Yes, that's correct.
So it's the second longest running of the franchise, and certainly appeals to the English-speaking U.S. audience.
Yes.
So
and it's so big now, they also have their own champions that they do.
Right. Yeah. And Susan Boyle was the breakout star from Britain's Got Talent. Right. So there you go. They're going to sing a song from A Star Is Born. And they're called. Simon say they're like One Direction, but more mature.
Well, so in their package, they thought that when they first came out, that Simon would think that they're just another One Direction knockoff because it's five guys,
right? Yeah.
And then I'm kind of stepping back a little bit back into their intro, and they talked about when their audition aired, they were sitting. They were in their own apartments or flats or homes or whatever, and watching the show. And then all of a sudden, their Twitter feed just started blowing up, and within minutes, they each had about 10,000 followers.
Yeah, so they hit a nerve with the Britain's Got Talent audience. They were very well received, I guess, out of the gate.
Yeah.
They didn't get a great reception from Alicia and Heidi. Howie was higher on them. Simon, in his comments, was not as high on them again. Song was boring, pleasant.
Yeah. Are you familiar with this song? Have you seen the movie?
No, I'm not. I have not seen A Star Is Born.
Okay, I haven't either. So I wasn't familiar with the song. It didn't hit anything with me. I liked their harmonies. I thought their harmonies were great, but the song itself didn't do anything for me.
Yeah, they collaborate nicely together.
Good job.
It's fine. It didn't feel like A+ talent. This felt like a singing group, and I am fine with them receiving mixed reviews from the judges.
Yeah, they look snazzy.
Yeah,
I like their suits. They all looked fantastic.
Their spokesman, or the guy that they kind of kept going to with the camera shots, got like some real salt and pepper hair going on.
I think he's the tall one.
So as a guy who is going gray, it's nice to see that there's other men out there who embrace the gray and say, hey, this is me, and I'm proud of it. So, and maybe that's part of, like as they look older, maybe they lose some of that appeal as well. So I don't know if that played into maybe the judges' comments at all, but just a thought, I guess.
Some judge comments. Alicia, I've heard other songs that have made you shine more. Heidi, I did not have that moment where I jumped out of my seat. Howie are very good singers, great harmony, and I agree with that. Simon, I remember your first audition. It was a bit wimpy tonight.
Yeah, wimpy. It was fine.
Yeah,
it was pleasant, but
it's very middle tier. Very middle tier.
No wow for me.
No wow for me. No.
All right, next act of the night. You want to tell us about Ryan Niemiller?
Yeah, so Ryan Niemiller, one of my favorite acts from season 4, AGT season 14. He finished in third place. Fabulous, fabulous comedian. I think one of the top comedians they've had in a while. And he's kind of hard to describe. He has a
birth defect.
A birth defect where he has short arms.
Right.
And his hands don't quite work like all 10 fingers, all 10 toes.
He doesn't have all 10 fingers on either arm.
Right.
And it's
but that's part of his act, is him talking about how he interacts with the world and how the world interacts with him with this birth defect. And I think he tells these jokes. It's some of the best comedy I've heard in a really long time. I think he tells the jokes very well. He has great stage presence. One of the jokes he started out with was I think he was in an airport or he was somewhere, and someone came up to him and said, "Aren't you that guy from AGT?" And he said, What would make you think that? What about me?
Why do you think that?
What about me makes you remember me from AGT? And he talked about how the guy was all nervous, and it's those type of jokes that anytime a comedian can really self-deprecate themselves, I find humor in that. When you can just talk about yourself, your life experience, I think that's just as funny as making stuff up. It feels more true, more believable, more. It defines your humanity a little bit more.
Yeah. No, he's been given a really unfortunate situation in life, and he is absolutely making the most of it. And I have no doubt that he had nights as a child where this really weighed on him. Where why does this have to be me? Why do I have to have this affliction? and he has turned that on its head and said, you know what, like, I'm not going to let this ruin my life. I'm only going to let it make me better. So I took down a couple other jokes. He said having these arms is the one thing I have in common with a woman with huge boobs. People struggle to make eye contact with you. My eyes are up here. My eyes are up here, buddy. And he says, I can take the most awful situations and make them funny. For example, I got into a car wreck. A semi-driver hit me, came around the corner, and I could see him say, "Oh my God, how hard did I hit him?" And I said, "Help me, look for my arms. They got to be around here somewhere." Just like, I'm trying to put myself in that semi-driver situation. Like, oh my gosh, I would... Like, I would really appreciate coming to the realization that, in fact, I did not cut his arms off.
Yes.
So I laughed out loud, and I hardly ever laugh out loud at any comedian. I laughed out loud at Ryan Niemiller tonight.
Yeah, my wife looks at me funny because I always watch this. She's off doing other things in the house, and I'll watch AGT with headphones on.
Okay.
So she can't really hear what's going on. So I'm watching him, and anytime the jokes, these comedians tell jokes. I'm just laughing, and she's just looking at me like, "What are you laughing at?" Because she can't hear anything. So it's just, with him, I'm laughing extra hard because this night was one of his best nights.
Yep, yeah. I thought this was some of his best material. I love the way that he, sort of like, I could see this coming, right? The him revealing to the semi driver, hey, I've got this, oh no, you knocked my arms off. Like, I could see it coming, and it just like he built the tension really well. It was great. Yeah. It was great.
So I mentioned earlier that I like to see like a segment with sentimentalists. I think AGT should do a comedians tournament. And have some of the best comedians from AGT history. From all of AGT. So you have Tom Cotter and Preacher and who was the one from Britain's Got Talent, the one with the
Lost Voice
guy. You have all of those. You have all of those come in. Maybe you have the top 10, 15, maybe 20, and you do some sort of comedians talent with AGT. I think that'd be great. And let them do. I don't know about a full set. Maybe let them do like 10 minutes.
It doesn't have to be a tournament either. It could just be an exhibition.
It could be an exhibition. I'd like to. I'm competitive. I like to see these people go head to head a little bit more, put something at stake a little bit. But he only got like 2.5 minutes. Okay. Now it's pre-recorded, so some of that it felt like some of it was cut out. It did feel a little choppy. They did include full jokes, so they may have left some jokes out. But if they let the comedians have, I don't know, 10 minutes might be a little long. 6, 7, 8 minutes, something like that. Let them get the crowd warmed up a little bit, and then have time to kind of come back around on some of their jokes. I think that'd be great to have, 10, 15, 20 of them come in.
Yeah, it'd be nice if they were able to have a little bit more of that time. And, like, sort of going a little bit meta, I feel like that's kind of what they did with Sethward, right? When he came out, like, first we were reminded of him failing last year in 2013, or the season 13, 2018, and then we see him once in 2019, and then twice in 2019. Like, by the time you see that third one, you're like, oh, okay, I get it. Like, this is funny now. And if you're given that ability to stretch it out, you can really put some cool stuff together. But when it's like, okay, you've got 2 minutes, be funny, go. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. That's not how comedy is really designed to be, and maybe this just isn't the right show for comedy. Really, at the end of the day,
no. I mean, I think the closest we've got is what Tom Cotter finished second, and then Preacher finished fifth, something like that.
Yeah, it was definitely
top
10,
and then Ryan finished third. So we've never had a comedian win. We probably should have had a comedian win. But they continuously finish in the top 5. We at least have one in the top 5 every year, which I think is pretty good. But I think you're right; they're not allowed enough time to really do a full comedic set.
Right.
I think they've done better with them in recent years, say like judge cuts, where they used to just bring them into an open area where it's just the 4 judges and you had to make them laugh. They're at least now doing judge cuts with a full audience, which I think does help comedians.
Right.
So they're trying to cater to them somewhat, especially since they have a comedian on the panel.
Yes. Yeah. All right. You ready to talk about the next act of the night?
One final thing on Ryan Niemiller. The crowd was calling for a golden buzzer, which I think would have been worthy.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Heidi said, "I don't like comedians." She kept going back to the well that people say that she doesn't like comedians. And I think at one point she said she didn't like comedians, but it seems like I remember from one season her saying that like comedians were her favorite category. And I'm trying to find that, and I don't know if I made that up. I don't think I did.
Boy, I don't remember.
But it seemed like she loves comedians, but this year she's saying she doesn't like comedians. So I don't know what's going on.
All right, yeah. Maybe she has a reputation for not being really high on comedians, or maybe a language barrier for her, and kind of getting the humor or whatever it might be. But So you said the crowd was calling for the golden buzzer, and how he said, "I can't. It's been used." Yep.
He stole it.
So it is not his golden buzzer tonight. It's official. Yep. So, all right. Seventh act of the night. You ready to talk about Puddle's Pity Party?
Puddle's Pity Party. Go right ahead.
He is a silent clown. Unless he's singing, then he is a singer. He's like any other singer, except he is dressed like a clown.
And he's always sad.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's his gimmick, right? So apparently he's done really well for himself since AGT. He had residency in Vegas in 2017, and is, I think, doing well for himself. He sings "I Want to Know What Love Is," the Foreigner song. Yes. Power ballad. Judges gave him pretty high praise with a, maybe not your best performance caveat, but all in all, I thought it was fine. I've never really been that high on Puddle's Pity Party. It feels like a above average singer with a gimmick.
Yeah, and when he was on in 2017, he was eliminated in the quarterfinals. When he came on, I remember him being on when he came out in auditions. People were all confused about him. He wasn't well. I think he had a YouTube channel, and there were people that did know of him, but I think in general most people didn't. And they found him interesting because he is dressed as a clown. He doesn't speak. He has the suitcase that says Puddle's Pity Party. And he's always sad, so it's an interesting gimmick. There were things about this performance that I really liked. I always like when a singer brings live musicians, which he did, string orchestra and a piano.
Okay.
So we have a Foreigner power ballad with I think 6 violinists and a piano, which I thought was a very interesting take.
Sure, yeah. And it's nice to hear it done in sort of a different way, right? It's not a rock ballad, right? His whole thing is he sings sad songs. And, I just want to know what love is, right? Like, that's an appropriate message for him to be sending as a sad clown.
The other thing that got me was this one got me in the feels, Jay.
Oh, it did?
Because they started showing dogs on the screen. And come to find out, it was the judges' dogs.
Yes.
Which I thought was interesting. And I think they showed Howie's, and it was like a bulldog or something.
Yeah, I didn't catch that. I was making notes while that was going on. But yeah, I do remember him showing dogs on the screen while he was singing this.
And the dogs had like Puddle's little crown on. Now I don't know if that was photoshopped in or if they actually put like Puddle's crown on the dogs' heads.
Yeah, I don't know.
But that was kind of funny looking.
Yeah, maybe there was some sort of pre-show like, hey, can you put this crown on your dog and send me a picture of it, or I'm going to use it for a thing.
So that kind of hit me in the feels because I still miss my dog from last summer.
Yeah, I put my dog down here a couple months ago too. It's rough.
Yeah. So I did like the interesting take on the song. The orchestra, the string orchestra with the piano, I thought was a wonderful touch. And then you got dogs. So I don't think it was, it wasn't like a fantastic show, but it definitely hit me in the feels.
All right. I'll allow it, but I didn't feel like it was a top half performance.
No, it's middle tier, but I got the feels. I got the America's Got Feels on this one.
Yeah. He might sneak his way into the top 4, based on that. But
maybe. We
already gave away one of those spots to stupid Boogie Storm. So,
some judge comments. Alicia, you seem like a charming clown. She seemed like she didn't know who he was. I'm not sure.
Right.
I'm not sure if this act is good enough to win champions. She said she didn't understand the act. So I guess she doesn't know who he is. Simon said, "You are very confusing. That was interesting. That's what we call Marmite." And I think he talked about Marmite back in season 14. It's
All right,
something
you
over in
love it or
England.
you
Either
hate
love it
it.
or hate it. And he said he loved
Yep.
it.
Okay, well, if Simon loved it, well, I certainly respect his opinion
He's going to
tonight.
give him another golden buzzer.
Sure, why not? Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let me ask you real quick on this, Jay. So this is AGT Champions,
Yep.
and we've now got one act from quarterfinals. Ben Blaque failed in semifinals, and is that it? Yeah. So we have someone that got to quarterfinals and semifinals. Do you think they should be brought in for champions?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with that, as a production choice. You need to have. I think variety is more important.
Okay.
You need to have a well-rounded show. Like we were kind of dreaming about, we could have a exhibition or a magicians only show or a magicians only off-season content, but for something like this, I think I want to see variety. I don't want to have song after song after song after song.
Yeah.
If they can give us more variety than that.
But you have Puddles, who is a singer. Could they have? I mean, maybe they did, but another singer that maybe was in the finals, or is it because of his gimmick? And I like Puddles. I like his gimmick. I think he is a fan favorite, even though he's not possibly a top tier performance. I think he is a fan favorite.
Well, I part of it is you have to get acts willing to come on the show for whatever reason. They have to have the availability. They have to agree to the terms of the performance. So, for what it's worth, he does need to. All the acts need to agree to it. So he was one that was able and willing to agree to it as well.
Okay. I'll go with it.
So
I'll allow it.
Yeah.
So, Jay, I think we were looking at, and I'm just going to tell everyone, we've been having some audio issues, so bear with us on some of this, but we're gonna go back to something here that we've probably already talked about. So, just letting you guys know. So we were talking about Puddles, and we had some judge comments. Howie said, "You are special." Alicia, you seem like a charming clown. I'm not sure if this act is good enough to win champions. I don't think Alicia understood what the act was. I'm not sure she's ever seen him before.
Yeah. And he may be kind of an acquired taste, right? Hans, we were comparing to Prince Poppycock last week.
Yes.
Puddle's Pity Party might be a better analog for that kind of act.
It's close. I mean, he's not as flamboyant as Hans or Prince Poppycock, but he does have the gimmick. He dresses up, the makeup, all that type stuff. He's a fan favorite. I like watching him. I'm not sure he's a top tier talent, but I think he is a fan favorite.
Sure. Yeah. Apparently this is what he does for a living, which is saying something. So, not necessarily my bag, but I'll roll with it.
Simon said, "You are very confusing. That was interesting, and that's what we call Marmite. Either you love it or you hate it."
Or you hate it.
And he said he loved it.
Somebody's got to.
So that's Puddles. Our next person is Mark Spellman.
Mark Spellman. Were you familiar with Mark Spellman before this at all?
I was not. No.
Okay. I feel like I'd seen maybe one of his videos pop up in my Facebook feed or something. He was a magician on Britain's Got Talent in 2018. I didn't get his final place.
It said he was a semifinalist.
Okay.
Apparently something went wrong in his semifinals act, and he was eliminated.
Right. And so he was able to somehow return to the competition or return to the next year, maybe?
Yeah, so he then came back. Is either the next year or is in a following year. I mean, I guess it was next year because he was in 2018, so he must have come back in 2019.
Okay.
And he came back as the character X, which wears all black, has a hood, and a mask. So no one knew who he was. His voice was modulated. It might have even been pre-recorded.
I suspect it was, yes.
Sounding like from this performance, it might even be pre-recorded. And it's really weird. But he's this character, and he got all the way to the finals. And then in his finals act, the previous season, in that season, he then revealed himself, and everyone just went crazy.
Right. So now he performs as this character X instead of as Mark Spellman, I guess.
Yes. Now, in that season, after he revealed himself, he was the runner-up. So he still lost, and he lost to some older gentleman dressed as like one of the Buckingham Guards. Is that kind of?
Yeah. What do they call them? Beefeaters?
Yes. Now I'm not sure what that guy's talent was. I'd have to, but he was the winner for, I guess, 2019. Probably should have gone and looked him up, but
I hope it was standing stoically.
Not being able to react to people around you.
Yeah. That sounds like British humor to me.
Yeah, it does. You're right, and that's all he does for 3.5 minutes is just stand there, and people come up and try to tickle you and do funny faces, and
he just stands.
Just stand there. Yeah,
yep.
Yeah. So yeah, he was the runner-up. So in this performance, he then does his performance as X.
All right. So he puts on his white mask that hides his entire face, his entire identity. He's got his hood up. And he's got this grid of colors and symbols, and it's all these individual pieces hanging up on this board or this frame behind him. Simon, pick one of the colors off the board. Simon picks yellow. Heidi, pick a symbol off the board. Heidi picks a smiley face. Alicia, pick a letter off the board. She picks the letter S. Howie, pick a number. Howie picks unlucky 13. And then he flips it around and he shows that on the back of this board, or did he do that first, or did he reveal the back?
He revealed the back of each person's
card.
Right.
Yeah. He said, yeah, Simon, you picked the card that's got your face on it. Heidi, you picked the card that's got your face on it. Alicia, you picked the card that's got your face on it. Howie, you didn't. We're going to get to that. So then he flips the whole board around.
Yes.
And you see the back of all of the different cards had different names of like AGT acts and different AGT related things.
Now, did you catch what he did when he flipped the board around?
Yes, I did.
Okay. He walked behind the board.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That
okay.
definitely reveals how that part of the trick was done.
Yeah.
But
now, to be honest, I didn't catch that the first time. I actually watched it a second time.
Yeah, I did too.
So okay.
But so he flips the board around. He flips the entire frame around. So you see in the backside of all these cards, and we see that the back of one of those cards had Howie's face on it. And he says, "So Howie, if you were going to pick some act, any AGT act, who would you pick?" He says, "I don't know, maybe Shin Lim." And they show that on the back of his card, the one that he picked was Shin Lim. And so then he goes over to this picture of all 4 judges, and then he changed it to 3 judges and Shin Lim. And then Shin Lim has somehow taken the place of Mark Spellman when he takes his masks off, and Mark then sneaks up behind them. I thought it was a pretty good trick. Magic acts, they kind of get you like moving and guessing, and you're going to anticipate what's coming and da 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 da. I didn't see the Shin Lim reveal coming until it was very, very close to it. I was like, oh, I wonder, did they are they pulling a fast one on me? And once I kind of got what was going on here, it's like, oh yeah, and he's totally going to sneak up behind him too, right?
Yeah, so I must be very gullible because I didn't see any of this coming at any point in time. No, I don't know why, but I was kind of in the dark the whole time. I didn't see him. At the end, I was like, how did he do that? I didn't see him walking behind the board the first time. I didn't guess that it would be Shin Lim under the hood. I don't know why. I don't know what was going on. But sure. I was memorized. I was mesmerized the entire time.
All right. Well, a good magician should make you forget that, right?
Yeah.
You should be listening to them and following them, and not really worried about how the trick is done. I find myself maybe thinking a little bit more about that and kind of appreciating that part of the game. Oh, how'd they do that? Oh, they do that. And if you can sort of take it to that next level of anticipating what they're going to do, you get a sense of how they're going to have done that
yeah.
for a future perfect for you. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I enjoyed it immensely.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Did you happen to catch any of the names that were on the board?
I didn't take them down. I remember glancing at them and all the ones that I caught. I was like, oh yeah, AGT. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm actually looking at it now. I went back and I have it pulled up in front of me.
Okay.
So I'm going to go through, and there's a lot of names on there. I'm going to kind of just go through them real quick and see. You're going to recognize all of these, but I think it's fascinating the ones that he happened to pick to put on the board.
Okay.
Okay. So we have Jackie Ivanko.
Oh, yeah.
Mandy Harvey.
Yep.
Mel B.
Okay.
Cody Lee. Latte Dogs. Jerry Springer.
Oh, our season 1 host? Season 2.
Yes,
season 1 or 2.
Season 2. Regis, season 1.
Regis was one, that's right.
Yes. Kiss X. Does that sound familiar to you?
I'm not familiar with that one, no.
Okay. And
might be a Britain's Got Talent.
Zucchero?
Zucchero, they were one of the dance teams.
Yes. Now, that's one of the big dance teams.
Right. They had the big props, I think.
Yes. Iman Bisha.
Oh, yeah.
Paul Zerdin.
Uh-huh.
Taylor Williamson, which is another one I'd like to see in the...
Another great comedian, yeah.
Comedy, yep. Comedy's Got Talent. America's Got Comedy. Kenichi Abina. Glynis
Fantastic.
Grace.
Yep.
Tape Face. Matt Franco. Alex Dowis. Acro Army. Regis. Okay. So we got two hosts on there. Regis, yep. Drew Lynch. Paul Potts. Sharon Osbourne.
Okay.
Tyra Banks. Jay Leno.
Oh. Controversial.
I don't remember him. I don't know what part he played. Was he a guest judge?
A guest judge, yep.
Okay, that is a little bit weird.
Just as recent as last season.
Light Balance. Now, you sent me a picture in the off season, Jay. Was it Light Balance Horses? Is that what it was?
That's what I said, yeah.
Okay. It's like Light Balance, but with horses?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. I know none of you all probably get that joke, but just imagine Light Balance being on the stage and it being horses.
It's horses, not kids.
Yes, not kids, yes. Pierce Morgan.
Yep.
Fighting Gravity.
Oh, yeah.
Grace Vanderwall. The Unbeatable.
Fantastic.
One of your favorites, Beer Kalsa.
Yes.
Piff.
The Magic Dragon.
Yes. Brian King Joseph. Terry Crews. Darcy Lynn. Courtney Hadwin. And Terry Fader.
Whew. All right.
That's a lot of names.
A lot of names.
A lot of history of Got Talent there.
Absolutely. Clear back to season 1.
Yes. So he definitely did his research.
No, that's great. I'm
Yeah.
the only one that I wasn't familiar with there was Kiss X, and that's interesting. So
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's kind of a fun little walk down memory lane.
Yeah.
I'll just tell you, here in the town that I live in, every year they have a lighted Christmas parade, which is new to me, but kind of a big deal around here. So it's a nighttime parade, and all the floats are lit up, and some of them are more computerized than others, but every single one of them is interesting and fun to look at. And so one of the parade entries was these horses that had lights on them, and that's what I sent you a picture of, and it was a little Light Balance Kids humor for you. So
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, all right. There you go. So okay.
Go ahead.
I was just going to get back to Mark Spellman, and
we diverted there.
Get some final thoughts there. Yep.
Yeah.
He was fine. I could see him going through as one of the magicians. I thought it was a good act.
Yeah. So of the magicians, well, we haven't seen the last magician yet, but is he already better than Ben Blaque?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So he would be your top magician of the week.
Well, is Oz a magician, or are we putting him in a different category?
Yeah, I guess he could be a magician. It's kind of magical what those mentalists do. I would go with that.
I would lump mentalists into magicians.
Okay.
And I think... Ooh, what was the better act tonight? Oz Perlman with his put all these numbers together and it's the word moment upside down, or Mark Spellman with his pick these off the board, reveal shin limb. Boy, they're neck and neck.
Well, while you're thinking about it, I'm just going to say I think I would prefer Mark Spellman. I think his stage presence was a little bit better than Oz Perlman's stage presence was really good, but I kind of like this X character that he does. The voice is
hokey. I'm going to take O's just for
okay.
that. Yep.
Okay.
All
yeah.
Right.
Okay. Fair enough. I kind of the voice that X does is a little weird. I don't know if you noticed, but like the last word in the sentence that would kind of repeat itself.
Yeah.
In like a lower tone, which I thought was a little weird. The trick itself. I mean, if you're paying attention, which I guess I wasn't, then it's easy to figure out. But it was still a great reveal. I think in tonight, just based on this performance, I would go with X. But I can see how you could go with O's.
I think the costume is hokey, and the pre-recorded makes it just go through the motions.
Yeah. Okay.
So
let's see. Well, I will say the return of Shin Lim may knock it down. I may change my answer because the return of Shin Lim, we've now seen Shin Lim 4 times in 2 seasons, in 2 years. So you've seen him 4 times in 4 seasons.
Yeah, Shin Lim is rare talent, and if you can get him to come on stage and help you out, sure, why not? But
I guess. Heidi said she's lost her words. Alicia had chills. Howie said this would have been his golden buzzer. But even, it's hard to do because he would have given Ryan Niemiller the golden buzzer. So I don't know how that would work.
You'll get a golden buzzer. You get a golden buzzer.
That's right.
You get a golden buzzer.
You all get a golden buzzer. Simon, this was probably your best performance.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, we haven't seen the others, so we have nothing to compare to. So
yeah,
it was good. I enjoyed it.
Yep. I'm going to give the slight edge to Oz Perlman as the more enjoyable performance to me of the 2 magicians so far. So I'll go with that.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Good.
Right.
So number 9 is Manny from Modern Family. Oh wait, sorry, Luke Islam.
Luke Israel.
AGT season 14 semifinalist.
Yes, he's he's the young boy who loves him some Broadway.
He loves him some Broadway. Yes,
Had a chance to sing with Sarah Bareilles since his last performance. He's
pretty
actually
good.
performed on Broadway, I understand.
Yeah, I wish they would have elaborated on that a little more. I mean, was he like a background character? Like, I mean, what did he do? I would like for them kind
Hard
of
to guess.
or shown a clip of it in his intro package. I would kind of like to know a little more about what are they considering singing on Broadway.
Yeah, he was able to stand on stage between performances and sing a song once. I don't know.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It could be anything, but he really is seeing his dreams become reality since his time on AGT. He's very good at what he does. He has a knack for singing these Broadway style songs in a appropriate, Broadway manner. So it's good. He says he's going to try a different music style tonight, though.
Yeah, he sang Celine Dion tonight.
I thought it sounded like everything else he sang.
Yes, I know. I was bored out of my mind.
Okay. Song was Ashes. It's from the Deadpool soundtrack is what I found.
Really?
I didn't think it was anything different than what we'd seen before. It was fine. I'm not blown away. I don't have much else to say about it.
Yeah, the only difference was it was not a Broadway song. It was very, I'm not going to say it's poppy, but it's very contemporary. Normal, regular Celine Dion song, no instruments, so background track. I was so out of it on this one, I didn't even record his time. Like I started I started my timer on the intro and forgot to actually record the time for his performance. I was so like doing something else.
Okay. All right. That's fine.
Yeah.
That says everything we need to know about Luke Israel. All right. Last act of the night. We've got another magician-adjacent act, Spencer Horseman. I remember his name as a very unique name, so I remembered him coming up. But he was from clear back at season 7 of America's Got Talent.
We're going way back.
Yeah, and he was very young then. I want to say 14, 13, 15, like somewhere around there when he performed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just a child, but he's grown up since then. He, in his video package, we learned, was hired on by Chris Angel to perform on Supernaturalist. In one of the productions, he blacked out on stage, like in a box of water. They showed some really tense action of them getting him free from the box of water. So he's going to do the same kind of escape act tonight, raised up in the air. He didn't give a whole lot of setup, I guess, of exactly what was going on, but
and he probably has not performed it since he did that act.
Very possible. So, and there's a part of me that looks at danger acts like this, and I say, like, they have to have so many safety measures in place.
Yes,
it's not possible that he could be really seriously injured or die. Right? Like we saw things go wrong, and they saved him, and he's fine. So. The illusion of danger, the illusion of scary, the illusion of things going wrong. Like I can enjoy that, get my heart rate up. That can be fun to watch. Like I get it, but at the end of the day, it's really mostly an illusion, right? If everything seriously did go terribly wrong, like things, he could get shot in the belly with an arrow, right? He could be possibly dropped from 30 feet in the air. Like these aren't.
We just talked about a guy that got shot in the neck with a flaming arrow. So
and he's fine, right?
I think if it were 1 or 2 inches to the left, he would not be fine.
I don't know that it pierced the skin. Like
okay.
it's but yeah. So all that to say, it was fun to watch. So they raise him up and.
I think I lost you.
I can hear you fine.
Okay, yeah, I can hear you now. There you are.
Okay.
Okay.
So they raise him up in the air, and as he's being raised, he's already got his hands undone, and he's got another lock to undo, and another lock to undo, and he's, in about 2 minutes' time, the bottom's going to fall out of this. They never say, like, in exactly 2 minutes' time, or in, 2 minutes, whatever. Like, it... I feel like that's part of the act is when I give the signal, that's when the bottom drops out, right? So... he time's running out as he's grabbing the thing to keep him from falling 30 feet to his imminent death. He the bottom falls out. He's fine. So fantastic act. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was fun. I really enjoyed it the whole way through. As like, how many times can an escape artist undo handcuffs and make it interesting? I don't know.
Yeah, and we even saw at the beginning of this where she gave him bobby pins. So it's not like back in the day they would kind of hide them away and you try to wonder how they kind of get out of these. No, they even commented she's handing him bobby pins.
Right.
It's like,
you could just hand him keys. Like,
yes.
That's fine too. It doesn't matter.
Now, a couple of things. They had a timer going, so we knew how much time was left before it was going to drop out. The other thing was at the end, he got unlocked from everything very early. And if you notice when he went to grab, I guess the rope or the cable with his that had his carabiner on it,
yep.
he kind of pushed it he accidentally pushed it away, like he was trying to add a little more suspense.
You think that was on purpose?
But you could tell it was on purpose. And he was kind of knocking away, and then he kind of fumbled with it, like I don't know where it's at. And then he grabbed it, and he knew how much time was left. And then he grabbed it, pulled it in, and hooked up, and then the bottom dropped out. The bottom literally dropped out of his act. So
I feel like I'm giving it a harder time than I want to, because I really thoroughly did enjoy the act, but it's kind of like every other escape act.
Yes, and like you say, that there's safety measures in place. Now, when they showed his intro and they showed that he had passed out, blacked out, the people jumped up there and they looked like they were banging on that box trying to get it open. So yes. I don't know if there's full safety measures. It's actually, I want to think it's actually locked, and they were hitting those locks trying to get them undone to get him out of there. So there might be some safety measures, and there is some acting involved to kind of give it a little more suspense. But I do think there is actual danger involved. I mean, if he doesn't get those unlocked, then I think he actually could drown.
Okay.
I may be gullible, I may be naive on this, but that's what I think is that if he doesn't do it right, then he could drown.
It's more fun to believe that that's a possibility.
Yes. Yeah. I guess. Yeah.
In some sick, twisted way, it's more fun to believe that that's a possibility.
But they did this one outside. So I mean, they had to lift him up on a crane. They were outside during all this.
Yep.
Howie, your preamble is that this has never worked before. So it's another one of those. Hey, it failed before, and I haven't done it since then, so I'm going to try it again. Alicia, I did feel a little sick. Heidi, you are a crazy, crazy nut job of a person.
Yes.
So.
All right. Okay, so that's our 10 acts of the night.
Yeah.
We've got Marcelito Pomoy, our duet singer, Oz Perlman, Boogie Storm, Ben Blaque, Calabro, Ryan Niemiller, Puddles Pity Party, Mark Spellman, Luke Israel, Spencer Horseman. We're taking Boogie Storm off the board because they clearly are the Golden Buzzer winner. Who are your next three?
My next three, the ones that I want to go through, and this is somewhat of a strong night. There's several. Oz Perlman, I would want to go through. Ryan Niemiller, I'd want to go through. Mark Spellman, and I guess those are my three. What did I say? Oz Perlman.
You put Mark Spellman and Ryan Niemiller.
Yeah. So those would be my three.
All right. Well, I would put Marcelito Pomoy as my top pick.
Okay.
Thoroughly enjoyable. And then I'd round it out with Oz Perlman and Ryan Niemiller. Sure.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
All right. Okay, so we're going to get our results. That's one great thing about AGT Champions. No second hour of television to watch tomorrow night or anything like that.
They get to the results.
Let's do it. Okay, so first we've got Marcelito, Puddle's Pity Party, and Calabro are 3 singers. Who's going through? Who did you expect to go through?
I expected Marcelito to go through on
Okay.
this. Yeah.
Yep, I did too, and I was really pleased to see Marcelito go through. I'm looking forward to seeing him again.
Yeah, it was interesting they put 3 singers in the same group.
Yeah, well, our second group is our Magicians Mentalists. We got Ben Blaque, Mark Spellman, Oz Perlman, and they give us Mark Spellman.
Yeah, and that's fine. What I was going to say is that right before they announced it, I think it was Alicia turned to Howie and said, "It's not going to be Ben Blaque."
No. Yeah, it was our Mark Spellman, Oz Perlman head to head, and they gave it to Mark Spellman.
And I want to think that was probably very close.
I would think so too, but if they had 1 and 2 were Marcelito and Mark Spellman, not necessarily in that order.
Yeah.
3, 4, and 5 are Spencer Horseman, Luke Islam, and Ryan Niemiller. Leaves Oz Perlman number 6, 7, 8, 9.
I guess.
Right?
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, he's got to be. Yeah. I mean, Ben Black's got to be 10. So yeah, I mean, 6, 7, or 8, or 9. That's interesting.
Well, if Ben Blaque is number 9 because we took Boogie Storm.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so 6, 7, or 8. Yeah,
6, 7, 8. Yeah.
Okay.
So man, yeah. So he did not connect with the crowd. I guess I don't know, but all right. So we've got remaining 3 acts that the judges are gonna vote on. We got Spencer Horseman, who just did our Escape. Luke Islam or Israel?
It's Islam. It's Islam.
Luke Islam. Okay, I must have written that down wrong. I'm sorry, everybody.
It's okay.
Jeez, I'm feeling silly.
I thought you were just changing the name.
No, I wrote it down wrong. My apologies, Luke.
Yeah.
Please accept. I'm sorry, everybody. Okay, Luke Islam, and then Ryan Niemiller, and Simon picks Ryan Niemiller. Alicia picks Ryan Niemiller. Heidi picks Ryan Niemiller. It doesn't matter what Howie thinks. Ryan Niemiller's going through.
This is the way it should have been.
Yep.
Of those 3, he was definitely the strongest one.
Yep.
In fact, I was going to formally protest if they went, if a judge picks each one, because it would have been ridiculous.
Yeah. Okay. So clearly not a crooked show. There's no shenanigans going on. They all picked Ryan Niemiller.
And you know that Howie would definitely have picked Ryan. It being the last one, he would have picked Ryan.
I think so too. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So there you go. Going through Marcelito, Pamoy, Mark Spellman, and Ryan Niemiller. I thought it was a great show. Certainly some controversy. We're going to see how they all figure that out from here. But man, I really enjoyed, especially those very first 2 acts. Marcelito and Oz Perlman was a strong start to the night.
Yeah, I mean, we a strong start. Then we had a couple that were downers, but I thought overall it was a really good night.
Yep.
So.
And excited to see Marcelito. I'm curious what he's going to bring for his next performance.
Yeah.
Another
I mean, and
duet
we'll see. We'll see some finals.
Yeah,
it has to be a duet. Some with male and female.
Yeah, and the good news is we won't see Boogie Storm in the semis. We'll have to wait until the finals to see them again.
Yeah, unfortunately, maybe they'll do. Maybe maybe they'll do the production value a little bit better. Simon will have seen them at least once now, or seen them once now. Maybe he'll be a little calmer. Maybe they'll actually show us their performance this time.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice? All right. Well, with that, everybody, give us some stars, give us some reviews. Really appreciate you listening this far in. Hope this is useful to everybody. And if you got anything else?
I don't have anything else. I think that's it for week 2. So we'll see everyone next week.
Have a great night. Bye.
Bye.